knock on wood and all things remaining constant, is the election. And the body that is tasked with making sure that the process of elections before and on the day and then after is the IEBC. Upholding of the rule of law by the IEBC is an expectation of Kenyans, but it's also in the Constitution. Now, there are worries. Kenyans are a bit jittery about whether that will happen. And some of the words that we've already heard coming out are things like voter suppression. And this is linked directly to one thing that you mentioned before about people coming out to register to vote, because, it's your responsibility, it's your right to then come out and do that. But then there's the fear that a body, though independent, may then actually be the stumbling block in the way of this freedom. How would the LSK engage with the IEBC to ensure that this particular thing is actually working and working well?
Okay, so let me start by using an analogy. When we think about fighting corruption, sometimes we may assume that the one body that should answer all questions is the Ethics Anti-Corruption Commission, because it has a constitutional responsibility of fighting corruption. But the truth is that you need a whole government approach and a whole society approach to fighting corruption. Cabinet, police, judiciary, everyone needs to fight corruption. And EACC's job should basically be advisory, directing, etc. It's the same approach with elections. Elections cannot all be given as a responsibility to IBC.
Okay.
For example, IBC is not the one that gives people IDs, and you need an ID to register as a voter. IBC is not the one that secures the polling stations. That's the Kenya Police, and you need security in the polls. IBC is not the one that registers political parties. IBC is not the one that debates laws. That is Parliament. So the truth is that IBC has an important role to play, but you need other organs to play their roles. If, for example, Parliament doesn't give IBC adequate funds to perform its role, there is a problem. If an IBC decides to do procurement, there is injunction of all those procurement processes in the courts, and they delay ability of IBC to implement its role, there'll be a problem. So I want to say that IBC has an important role, but is not the only role in regards to election preparedness. And for IBC, what we want to do as LSK is we want to engage them constructively and find out what are the challenges they are facing, and also hold them to account if we find that they are falling short of the expectations of Kenyans or their mandate. And this is something that we are going to do for IBC as the most important actor for free and fair elections, but not the only actor. And we are going to engage also the other actors that we think are important in free and fair elections. So there's a matrix, there's a scorecard or a checklist. You can check various issues of election preparedness, beginning with civic education, voter education, registration of voters, the question of boundaries. IBC has already said it will not have time to delimit boundaries, and we want to check that and see, does this make sense? Of course, by now we're already in March.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Yes, it's a bit late, but they had until July this year. Personally, I'm not happy that they made that decision, but we want to see whether it is a reasonable decision. The judiciary has already set up its committee on election preparedness. LSK is going to do the same. We are going to engage the registrar of political parties and see what are they doing to ensure political parties are compliant with the law, and so on. So there's a checklist of things to be done, and we need to ensure that those are being done. But I can tell you, right now, the most important pre-electoral activity is to ensure that Kenyans are allowed to exercise their civil and political rights, freedom of assembly, freedom of movement, freedom of expression, freedom of picketing, and all those other things, and the political rights that are found in the Constitution, because that's how you mobilize politically and try to persuade Kenyans to vote for you and your agenda. And once Kenyans are educated, they have been mobilized, they've decided which are the characters they want and they don't want, then you ensure that the framework, the structure, the infrastructure for securing the opinion of Kenyans on the ballot box is safe and secure.
Indeed. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, but from what you're saying, that the months ahead, though busy, it seems as